Hey guys, we are in the basement, and today guys, on this episode of John's Arcade, well guys, we're gonna be doing a John's Arcade tech video. That's right, we're going back to the garage. Yeah, you know, the weather is fantastic right now. But you know what? We gotta fix our broken games before we can move on to anything else, because right now the basement is a disaster. You know, Journey is pulled out right now because the monitor's giving us issues. iRobot's down. I'm actually sending those boards off to my friend Andy P. Man. He said he'd take a look at them. And then also the Firefox is down. I don't actually know at all what's wrong with the Firefox, but hopefully soon we'll get to that and figure out what's wrong with that. But in this video right here, I want to focus and talk about the Journey, because the monitor, as you guys know, has been giving us a lot of trouble. The picture's like all doubled and tripled, and it kind of started out with a yoke wire issue, I believe, okay? Because it was kind of doing that, and actually I had a collapse. I had a vertical collapse. We replaced the vertical IC. Now the vertical collapse is gone, but we had this weird picture. And I know a lot of you guys said, you know, John, you got to really get a test pattern generator just so we can rule out the game PCB. And I did that before this episode, so let's take a look over here. And I got my friend Aaron, Crafty Mech's test pattern generator, and it's a cool little device right here. And it runs, it's battery powered, okay, and basically you have RGB ground and then your sync wires. So I hooked it up like this configuration right here, and then right now I have 6, 7, and 8. The dip switches are turned off. Now initially it didn't want to sync. I had to play with the pots in the back of the monitor, but now it is synced. But you can see clearly the issue persists, okay? And basically with the Journey, we had a similar kind of picture. So the issue that we have right now is a monitor issue. It's not the game board. I mean, this is the same exact stuff. I'm going through the different patterns. This is the same exact stuff that the Journey PCB was doing. You can see the lines are all like zigzagged and stuff. It's just really weird. So I'm just going through the different patterns that this generator makes. And this thing's dynamite. I think his website's like craftymech.com. And this is like falling blocks. And look at that. Look at that. So obviously we have a serious monitor issue. And, you know, this is a monitor that I rebuilt a couple years ago. And again, you know, what happened initially was I had collapse. And I replaced the vertical ICs, and now we no longer have collapse, but we have this kind of stuff. And actually, I went back and replaced the vertical ICs that I replaced with the original ones, and we still have the issue. So it wasn't the new vertical ICs that did this. Could there be a cold solder joint somewhere? Could I have bridge solder somewhere? Anything's possible, but we did go over that in the last video. So what I really want to look at in this video is the yoke wires. I want to bring the monitor to the garage. We're going to test it out there, probably using like the Cloak and Dagger game, using the isolated power from that with this test pattern generator. But I really want to see if we can figure this out in the garage. And you know, if we can't, we might start swapping chassis and tubes. And by the way, this thing is really touchy. It loses sync kind of easily. Right there. I'll kind of show you how I have it hooked up too in the back. And by the way, I printed out, or actually I wrote out this, because there's 3 dip switches, 6, 7, and 8, and these are the only 4 combinations that you could possibly have that will work. And it's either off, 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 on, off, off, or on, off, on. So right now I have 6, 7, and 8 all off, which is this default setting right here. And I'll show you how I have it connected too, because honestly, it took a lot of trial and error before I got sync, and actually the problem wasn't really Crafty's device, it was these pots here, because the settings for these pots are actually different than what the game PCB wanted. But you can see I have all the connectors right there into the single header. I didn't separate them, and it worked fine. It's synced just fine with the Geo7. So, all right, here's what we're gonna do. I'm going to remove the monitor, and we're gonna bring it to the garage. It's what we need to do here. And let me grab a key, and we're gonna get that monitor out. But it should be just a few screws. Terrific. Oh, let me find the key, hang on. Okay, so should be this one. So we're gonna have to remove the the glass and remove it from the front, I believe. Let me double check in the back here, but I'm pretty sure that this is gonna come out from the front. Yeah, it is. And you can see it right on here. We rebuilt the monitor in May of 2014, so it's been over 3 years. And I really don't think that this issue is a capacitor issue. I know that James Brindle in the UK was saying that that on the game PCB, there's some capacitors that can dry up that can cause this issue, but clearly we know now this issue is not the game board. And wait, oh shit! Oh my god, that could have ended pretty bad. All right, let's get this out of the way. Boy, that thing dropped right down. Okay, so to get this monitor out, we've got 2 screws on the top and 2 in the bottom. So what I'll do is, I'll probably just do this off camera real fast. It looks like we're gonna have to remove this plastic shroud. Oh boy, this is gonna be really involved, isn't it? Because I can't get to the 2 on the bottom. Maybe I can. All right, let me go get my nut driver, and we're gonna pull the monitor out and bring it to the garage. I'll probably do this all off camera, but it's literally that nut, the 2 on the bottom. Disconnect the power. Be careful though, you know, you don't want to snap the back of the tube and all that. And I'm not discharging the monitor right now, so you know, just be aware of the anode on there. I'm trying to remember though what holds this on here. God, it's been so long since we worked on this. So how does the shroud? It's not these. I'm trying to remember how the shroud connects to this. All right, anyway, let me get my tools and we'll get this out of here. All right, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna see if we could, I'm not sure if these screws hold the whole plastic shroud on. I gotta fix the leg level. Yeah, they do. So the little clear plexi's gonna come off, and then also the shroud after. I just want this behind me. This monitor is not coming back in the basement until we verify 1 gazillion% that it's working fine in the garage. Okay, so let me get my nut drivers here. And we just got 1, 2, 3, 4, and the whole thing should come out. So I'm gonna go in the back, actually, and disconnect everything first. So let's come over here. Let's turn the game off, and then let's disconnect the power. Okay, and then we're gonna have to disconnect the video signal, which right now, man, that's in there. That resistor I'm touching is hot. Ow. There's 1, there's 2. Okay, so everything's disconnected, so it'll just come right out through the front now. All right, so we got the nut driver here. Let's go ahead and remove these 4 nuts, and then this thing should just pop right out. Just gotta be careful here I don't drop them and the washer as I remove them. Ah, shoot. Where'd it go? All right, there's 2. Okay, so all 4 of the nuts and washers are off. So the monitor should just come right out. No, it won't, because oh, I have to take the top bar off. Let's look at this. So right now, it's getting hung up right here. It can't go through there. So I'm trying to remember how we did this. I'm kind of thinking maybe this piece comes off with it, and then we tilt and lift. That's gotta be what it is. So I'm gonna put those two back on the top there. There we go. All right, so now we take off this one. And that one, and the whole thing should come right out. But when we do this, let's see. So now, I think this piece needs to be removed. This is like a puzzle. Did I put this in from the back? Because if I lift this up, I must have. So I'm trying to debate right now, should I remove these two and then just kind of get this out of the way? And then we could pull it right out. We just have to lift it over this edge. I think I'm going to do that. Alright, I gotta be careful here so that this whole thing doesn't just like fall. So let's... Alright, so right now, it's all kind of being held onto by itself. So, if I go like this, hold on to the monitor, and then get this bracket out of here. And now I should be able to lift it up. And out. Wow, this thing definitely was removed from the back. Yeah, it was. Alright, I'm gonna go in the back and take it out. Not a lot of room here. I'm gonna move the cabinet. This is hairy. All right, here we go. All right, we're free. All right, the monitor's out. Okay, the monitor's free. So I'm gonna bring it to the garage. It's on the ground right there. All right, guys, let's go to the garage. All right, guys, we're back in the garage. Doesn't it feel good to be out here? You know, summer just started, and I am excited to be out here, but we gotta fix this stupid stuff in the basement first. So anyway, the Geo7's on the table here, and the one thing I wanted to do before we do anything was to measure the yoke. I already did this, but I just want to do it again. Right now I'm Googling Geo7 yoke measurement. And then usually I throw the word like arcade at the end of it. So let's see what comes up here. All right, so according to the forum at Arcade Controls, on a G07, vertical is 54.5 and horizontal is 2.6. So let's kind of come over here and take a look. So the connector right is this one right here, and this is kind of where everything started, okay? This connector, when I was having a collapse and the picture was all messed up, it was this connector that I reset that fixed it, okay? And I want to show you something too here. See how that just comes right out? And the rest of them are okay. It's all kind of loosey-goosey if you ask me, though. So I'm really thinking it's something with this connector. Alright, so let me, I'm going to pull the pin out here because 2 of the wires are horizontal and 2 are vertical. I think it's red and white and gray and black, gray and brown. Let me just take a look here. Just reading up here. Hang on, let me get this up. Okay, I found a thread here. This is Ken Layton. So the vertical is the gray and the brown. And that should be like 50 ohms. All right, so let's take our multimeter here. We're gonna put on ohms and we're gonna measure gray and brown, and we should get around 50 ohms. And gray is that wire that's popping out, and this is the problem, it's on the vertical side. So we got 56. And there was another thread on here that had various readings. So like this guy got 54.5 on the vertical and 2.6 on the horizontal. So if we were to measure the horizontal, which should be red and white, we get 2.3. So this is reading correctly, okay? The question I have, though, is do we have continuity from these wires to the pins on the chassis? And I'm trying to figure out the best way to figure that out. And actually, I wanted to measure continuity because these wires go right to here, to these tabs, and I was trying to see if somehow these were loose or if we want to reflow the solder, because if we follow the wires here from this yoke connector, they go right up in here, okay? And I was wondering if we, I mean, we definitely want to test continuity to those, right? So if I go brown, so where does the brown go? Brown might be the ground, though. Let's see. I wonder if I can compare this to another monitor to see if I get similar continuity. So brown goes right here, okay? So I'm not sure what's correct here. I'm gonna grab another tube just so we can kind of compare the two, because I don't know what's good or bad. Like I'm wondering even if we could use this as reference over here, this Polo. This stupid Polo. But I do have another G07 on the shelf. I wonder if I should grab that, the tube, and that way we can kind of A/B them to see if we get the same results. Because right now, if I, so brown and white, that was our vertical, right? Which is where we want to look, and that's where we're having the trouble. Yeah, that's 56 ohms. So brown goes to here. So I don't know if those are supposed to be connected like that. I guess they are. But we should have resistance, 2.2 ohms. So that's probably right. That's 56. Yeah, so we get continuity at 56 ohms between those 2 points. I get it. And then between these two, we get continuity at 2 ohms. So if I were to come over here, so that's our brown. And then our red and white. I see, so here's where our verticals go. And that's our 2 ohms. That's where the horizontal wires go here, and then the verticals go here. So this must be a half step right here, because outside to outside I get our 56 ohms, and then in between I get half of that, 28. So I'm wondering if this is maybe all of the winding and this is half the winding. I don't know, I'm just guessing. So we have continuity though. So the big question though is, do we have continuity from the pins? The connector. We still might grab that other monitor, I haven't decided yet, but let's put the connector on there and see how this all behaves. And again, the ones that we're concerned about was brown and gray, right? Yeah. Which is the first and the third connector. So that's on there. Boy, there's no easy way to test this. I guess we'd have to remove the chassis. So what I'm looking at here is that this connector goes on, right? And I want to see if I have continuity from the traces below to up here, okay? So we have to remove the chassis to do that. I need a nut driver. Let me see what I have out here. I might have to go downstairs and get my nut driver. All right, hang on a second. This monitor is not going in the basement ever again until we see a picture out here. And in fact, I'm never doing another video until this monitor works. There could be 4 more parts to this. I have no frickin' idea. Whatever it is, I am not giving up on this. We will figure this out. I've got enough stuff in the garage here that we can deduce what is going on here. Okay, so that's free. Now, mind you, I did not discharge this monitor at all, okay? So just be aware that this tube is charged here, and really, we could discharge it right now. It wouldn't hurt to do that, but I'm just going to be very careful. What do you guys think? Should we discharge it? Yeah, maybe we will. Because we don't really need it to be charged right now. I mean, we are probably going to be applying power to it in a second here. All right, where's this discharging tool? So why don't we do the safety thing here first? And, you know, these monitors can and will bite you. I've been bitten, and it's not fun. So I have my discharging tool. We've covered this in every single video. Every time we work with a monitor, we're basically shorting the tube to ground. All right, so I have an alligator clip here. One hand in your pocket, go under the anode. You may or may not hear a snap. We did. Very slight. Okay, so we are now discharged. Okay. Safety first, kids. Okay, so what I want to do is I want to make the yoke connection here. And then I'm going to come underneath and we're going to do some continuity tests very carefully. So the one wire that's suspect is this guy right here. But man, I have played with this thing to death, and it didn't seem to change the picture at all. All right. So I'm going to try to just carefully get my... wait a second here. Do I see a really nasty cold solder joint? No, I don't. Do I? No. Alright, so we want to go from this one here. Alright, we have continuity. And then the brown one is this one right here. Alright. And then the white one, which is our horizontal white. Alright. And then red. Let's see. Red. Okay. So we have continuity from the bottom of the board to the yoke. So the problem doesn't appear to be that. Okay, so now I'm wondering what we do. So we have some kind of a vertical deflection issue. Could it be one of these pots? I think we need to remove the board and just inspect it again and start comparing things. So let's disconnect everything. Are we free? No, we got the yoke connector. Okay. You know, we never checked the B+. I know I did a long time ago, but we haven't recently checked the B+. And also in here, these jumpers. So this is horizontal, vertical center. You know, we should really look at these. Right there is a cold solder joint. Look at that, guys. I think I might have just found the issue. So right here, if you guys can see that, we've got a cold solder joint right here. It's right, I'm wiggling the jumper, and that whole thing is moving. If I wiggle the ones next to it, they don't move on this side. We have a cold solder joint on that jumper. And this is the vertical center jumper too. We might have just found the problem here. Oh yeah. All right, let me heat up my soldering iron. I'm getting excited here. We might have just found it. All right, let me heat up the soldering iron and let's reflow that solder. Yes. Okay, so we're gonna reflow the vertical center, the center pin. This is a selectable jumper. Now I remember, okay, playing with that before, and it did fix the issue. I remember I was messing around with that. Like, I'm thinking of all the things that I did to fix it when it was messing up before, and I was reseating the yoke connector, and I also did play with that vertical center one pin. So let's see, it's this one right here. All right, so I'm gonna come up in here, just reflow this. Oh God, if this fixes it, I'm gonna be very, very happy. I'm just gonna reflow these ones too. This is the horizontal ones. All right. Okay, so let's see. So now if I wiggle that thing, it doesn't move. So let's take a peek here. Okay, so the one that we were really looking at was this middle one, okay? And again, this is the vertical centering jumper pin. And now if I wiggle this, it's not moving. Oh boy. Boy, I feel pretty good about this. All right, let's put this back together and we're gonna try it. We're gonna try it out here. I'm gonna plug it into the Cloak and Dagger, which is right next to us, but we gotta put it back together first. All right. So it's interesting to me to think about this because we had collapse, okay? Was that the ICs? Did we really have a bad IC? Or did we have two things that were wrong with this monitor, right? Was it the vertical IC was bad? Okay, we replaced that. It fixed the collapse, but then we had another issue. So maybe we had two issues all along. The vertical IC went, and then also that jumper was causing trouble. I don't know. I'm getting excited here. I really want my cordless screwdriver for this. All right, let's get the other screw in on the other side. Okay, so let's make all of our connections. So we need the ground wire for the neck board. Let's get the flyback out of the way. Okay, so where is our... So let's put the degauss coil back on. And then where is that ground wire? Right here. Okay. And then our yoke. Wouldn't it be something if I was, when I was reseating that yoke connector, that I was actually bumping that pin, which is what fixed it? Okay, so let's make sure it's in there really good. All right. Okay, and then we need to put our, so I'm going to discharge it again. I always like to do it the second time just because I'm about to put my hand right there. And there's these two little rabbit ears and they go in the hole. And I usually just bend the cup back like that. Do one side, then the other, and then make sure you got good suction. Okay, so we are all back together here. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to set up a table next to the Cloak and Dagger, and then we'll use the isolated power from that to test this, and we'll use the test pattern generator to get a picture. All right. Okay, I have the G07 on a table here next to the Cloak and Dagger. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab power, and here's the power connector that was going to the G07 that's in the Cloak and Dagger. We're going to use that to power our monitor because we need isolated voltages, and there's an isolation transformer on the bottom of the cabinet that we're going to be using to power this. And then for the video signal, we're going to use Crafty Max TPG. And I'm going to go ahead here and just make my connection, and I'll show you guys in a second how we're doing this. And I'm just using the one single header. Okay. Alright, so let me show you guys what's going on. Okay, so our connection is right there. See that? We're just using the one single connector. We're not using the separate, we're not putting the separate connector over here. This is how I was able to get it to sync in the basement with this configuration. And then my dip switch settings, 6, 7, and 8 are off, which, you know, honestly, I don't really know exactly what it does, but that's like actually the default too, and it works fine. Let me turn this off. There's an on and there's an off, and then this switches through the different patterns. And you can see here, this turns on RGB, these dip switches. There's a sleep mode, and then the NV, I'm not really sure what that does. Negative, vertical, I don't know. Okay, so let me just double check our work before we plug it in. Alright guys, this is it. So I'm going to go ahead and we're going to plug in the Cloak and Dagger, and this monitor should get power immediately. Just double checking my work here. Yoke is plugged in, anode. All right, here we go. Let's plug it in. All right, it's on. Okay, so this is off right now. We have HV. Turn that off. All right, you ready? Nope. It's still messed up. Still doing it. God darn it, I really thought this was going to be it. I'm going to come in here and wiggle that test point. See if anything changes. Wiggling the yoke connector. Man, I really thought that was going to do it. Just playing with the yoke connector. This is infuriating. Kind of curious what would happen if we plug in Cloak and Dagger. Should we do that just for the heck of it? Let me turn the game off. I'm gonna grab the Cloak and Dagger video. I'm so mad right now. The thing is, I have another G07 chassis right here. I don't know the condition of it. I'm tempted to throw it in there. So I'm unscrewing this little wire tie to get the video cable free. I mean, this is probably pointless to do this, but I just kind of want to do it. Just because. So let's plug in the Cloak and Dagger video signal. Okay. Alright, so we have the Cloak and Dagger now plugged into it. So let's go ahead and turn it back on. Yeah, I have nickel. Yeah, it's same thing. Where's my TV adjustment tool? Hang on, let's try to adjust the monitor. All right, well, I played with the pots a little bit with my TV adjustment tool, and yeah. What is causing this? So I guess that's sync right there with the vertical hold. So obviously it's clearly not the Journey board. So now we got to start looking at, I think we need to look at cold solder joints. I am tempted to throw this G07 chassis in here real fast though, because I've got this one right here. I don't know what the status is of this board, this chassis. It looks complete. It's worth a shot. I mean, if it works, we can get a cap kit and just go through it real fast. All right, why don't we, I'm going to disconnect all of this, and we'll put this back on the bench, and we'll figure out our next steps here. All right, I'm thinking what we're going to do here. I kind of want to swap chassis. Let's do it. Otherwise, the only other plan I could think of is to look again at cold solder joints to see if somewhere I screwed up. Again, one hand in your pocket when you do this. All right, we're discharged. So let's go ahead and disconnect this thing again. And I'm going to put this other chassis on here. Let's see what happens. And if it works, I kind of want to do a cap kit on it. Let's just see what happens after we put it on. Alright, let's go ahead and do this. It started raining, by the way, if you guys can hear that. So let's go ahead and just start disconnecting everything. I feel like I've done all this like a zillion times. Okay. I'm just looking at the other yoke connector, and it goes orange, brown, white, gray, and then the last one's red. I'm just making sure that these are actually in the right spot, because that would be pretty funny if that's what was wrong. Orange, white, gray, and then red. Yeah, they're all in the right spot. Orange, white, gray, and then red. All right, let's throw this other chassis in here. I don't remember the origins of this thing. I can see right here we got a bit of an issue with the power. I wonder if we can maybe crimp a couple pins on there real fast. Everything seems to be here. It looks like it's complete, just a little dusty. You know, it's got the original flyback. On that one, you know, we completely rebuilt that thing when we did the Journey restore. I do feel like I'm giving up here. But we have to move on, and we have choices. So let me tighten this guy down. There's one. Let me get the other screw in here. So I really don't remember where this chassis came from. Probably been in the garage for 10 years. Okay, so let's put our ground wire on the neck board. Like so. Let's put our degauss wires in here. 1, 2. Let's get our anode on. I'm gonna discharge the monitor one more time. Saw a little bit of a spark there. So this is kind of stubborn here, the way that is. Get that in there. Huh. Nope. Get in there. That does not want to go on. We got one in. Boy, that's tough. Can I get it on? I did. Nope. I wonder if I need to just bend this a little bit with some pliers. Let's try that. Alright, let's give that a shot. Alright, they're both in. Boy, this is stubborn, guys. There's one. Okay, they're both in there. Yeah, they are. Okay. All right, so, and then our yoke wires right here. Okay. All right, so I gotta do something about the power here. Maybe we can crimp a couple pins on there. Let's see if I can find my pins. Because we want it to look like, where's the chassis we removed? We want it to have 2 male pins. These are not the right size. These are not right. Might have to go downstairs. I got a whole bunch of that stuff. Yeah, let me go in the basement and get my pins. Alright, I'm going to strip these wires back here. I can't find my good wire strippers. And then we're going to throw just a couple pins on here. I'm not going to put a housing on because I don't have one. But we could take the pins and just kind of jam them in to the other connector. Just as a temporary. I'm trimming this wire back, so it's about 1/8 inch. Okay, and then I have these, I forgot what size these are, but these are the right ones. And then we're going to use our little Molex crimper. Yes, this is Buffett's. And then we're going to come in here. Go. Let's go on A. All right. This is some heavy stuff here. Let's see. I think that's pretty good. And then let's do the other one. So these are male pins. The game itself for the AC has female. Okay. Okay. Alright, so we've got 2 pins here that we can jam into the connector. And if we were to look at this here, the top wire goes to the circle. And I guess we'll honor that when we plug it in. Because if you look at here, if you look at the connector, it's got a circle and like a half moon kind of thing, and the top wire goes to the circle. So if we want to kind of do the hot and neutral thing, then that's the way it's going to be. All right, so let's double check our work here. Everything looks good. Let's bring it over and plug it in and see what happens. I really hope this chassis is just something I pulled out of a warehouse or something and not something I removed from a dead game. I hope it's not like... I hope it wasn't on the bench because it's bad, which is entirely possible. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead here and connect our power. The game is off. And it's unplugged. So the top one goes into the circle. So I have to be careful here because these connectors are just kind of bare. There's no housing. And if we get this working, we'll put a housing on it. But for now, it's okay. I'm just going to be aware that this is kind of bare and I'm not going to bump into that. So let's get our test pattern generator. And let's hook that up. All right, guys, you ready? We're all, oh, no, we're not hooked up. All right, this is it. So I'm gonna plug it in and we're gonna see what happens here. And here we go. All right, do we have any neck glue? I don't think we do. Ah, boy, this chassis is dead, isn't it? Turn the test pattern generator on. This is a bad chassis, isn't it? It's in shutdown. It's probably got a bad flyback on a hot. So yeah, we have no HV. Yeah, this monitor's in shutdown. I wouldn't be surprised it has a bad flyback or even a hot.
There's no neck glue or anything.
Getting my ass kicked by this damn thing. All right, let's turn the power off. And it is. Okay, so here's what I'm thinking. I kind of want to rebuild this chassis, or do we start looking at the other one? Should probably check the fuses on this thing. So I'm going to check the fuse on the monitor. Looks good. I really feel like rebuilding this whole thing. Just gonna try this again. Yeah, there's no HV. All right, it's off. Disconnect this. All right, guys, what do you want to do? We have two choices, right? We could start going through this monitor again. This chassis that was working that is now acting crazy. Okay. You know, is it a bad pot? Didn't we replace one of these pots? You know what? That trace is still moving. That's a lifted trace right there. Our problem still might be this. Yeah, I'm wiggling that thing. Where does that trace go? It's really hard to tell because of the frame right here. But I'm totally moving that thing. You know what I should do? I should try another position. All right, I'm gonna put this back on. And we're gonna try a different jumper position to see if anything's different. I'll spare you guys. I'm gonna take this apart. We're gonna put that other one back on, and then we'll come back and try it. Okay, I pretty much have the chassis back on. This is the original one that was in the basement. I just need to put the flyback back on. So we're gonna try. So we have these horizontal and vertical centering jumpers, right? And it appears that the center one is has a lifted trace. And the thing is, I can't really tell where it goes. It's very mysterious. Like, it's so close to the metal, I don't even see where I could repair it or how to repair it without removing all this metal. But what I want to do is we're going to remove the jumper from the center, and we're just going to put it in the other positions, because the other positions are good. If you wiggle those, they don't move. So we're going to try that position right here. And let me show you what we're talking about, okay? So we have these jumpers right here. There's horizontal position jumpers, right, which is up, center, and down. And then there's vertical center jumpers, again, which is up, center, or down. And we had it in the center one, and when we wiggle it, even after reflowing the solder on the back, that thing was still wiggling, like it's a lifted trace. And the ones adjacent to it, and also the ones adjacent to the center, I can see the trace and where it goes. Those look great. So maybe that's it. All right, let's try it. I'm gonna bring this over here. This is nerve-wracking. All right, let's bring the monitor over. This is the worst part, man. It's just doing the same thing over and over and over. Take the monitor apart, put the monitor back together, bring the monitor over here, plug in the power, plug in the video. I don't want to do this anymore. I just really want to move on. We have to. Make sure the game's unplugged. It is. All right, there's our video. I mean, there's our power. Let's connect our video with the TPG. Plug it in. Plug the other one in. Make sure the polarity's right. Double check your work. No, make it stop. All right. Double check the work. Your work looks good. All right, we're ready to try it. All right, guys, this is it. If this doesn't fix it, I mean, this is a pretty good hunch here. All right, we have HV. Let me turn this light off. And, yeah, we have neck glow, I think. All right, let's turn on the test pattern generator. Nope, same darn problem. So it's not that cold solder joint. Where's my TV adjustment tool? Oh my God, I'm so sick of this thing. There. It's the same damn thing. Let me turn the monitor off and we'll try the other position just for the heck of it. Yeah, it's the same exact symptom. Nothing's changed at all. Let me turn the game off. I'm going to try the other position. So we tried the middle and the center Let's try the outside one. All right, here we go. Nope, same thing. So, could it be that the center one, that whole trace is just blowing up that whole area? Yeah, it's just... Oh, I just noticed it's in medium. There we go. Yeah, guys, it's it's the same stupid symptom. All right, I have to stop. It's 9 o'clock. All right, I have to edit this video. I have to go to bed. I have to go to work. We are not giving up on this. I have two choices. We continue to hunt and peck on this chassis, or I rebuild one of these other ones. I think I'm going to talk to Ian Kellogg tonight or tomorrow, and I'm going to order everything, and we're going to rebuild this other G07. We're going to do the cap kit, the flyback, the hot. And let's rebuild another G07, and maybe we just move on from this chassis, because this is just infuriating, and it's doing the same thing. It's so weird how we're finding stuff though. Like, there's literally a cold solder joint or lifted trace on that jumper pin. Maybe that's where the problem is. Maybe I need to remove all the metal so I can get to all those traces and see where that goes, but we're not doing it tonight. I just got to stop here, because you could see here on this other board. So what we're talking about is over here, and I can't really tell where that center trace goes right here. If you guys can see it, I have no idea where that goes. It just kind of vanishes unless it's on the top. But this board's so filthy. I wonder if it goes to that resistor right there. Let me see. So does it go here? Yeah, it does. Goes right to that. I wonder if we have continuity there. But right now I'm not using that jumper though. So, and these other ones don't go to that. So even if that thing was lifted on the top, would it somehow... Yes, it would. Because the down one goes there. Does the down one go to the other leg of that transistor? No. That transistor goes over here. Oh, it's right here. Goes to here. Should look at the schematic, see if we could figure it out. It appears that transistor, that resistor only deals with the center jumper, which makes sense, right? So, excuse me, when you put the jumper in the center one, it applies a different resistance value, which then moves the pitcher or something. Okay, I am stopping here. I know, listen, I know that this keeps happening. But I am literally documenting my hobby, nothing more. So, and you know what? This is the hobby. Because you know what? Even if I wasn't filming this, I'd still be doing this. Trial and error, trying things. Does this work? No. Does this work? No. Keep trying. Does it work now? Maybe. All right, we're going to stop. Let's go in the basement. We'll hang out for a little bit. You guys want to do viewer mail? All right, let's go upstairs. All right, guys, there you have it. That was part number 7,000 of the Journey Monitor Fix video series of fun. Again, you know what? I don't know what to say about this. This is just the reality of this hobby, guys. It's not always easy. And this is a real head scratcher, isn't it? But we're going to get to the bottom of it. I'm not giving up. I'm just not going to. I've got choices, too, right? And in fact, I actually have like a inbox like Betson Imperial that I thought about pulling out, too. But we're not going to do that. So, all right. So what do you guys want to do? Actually, a couple little things I want to tell you. Number one, it appears that I'm going to be going to the UK. So, I believe it looks like I'm going to be speaking at the Play Expo in Manchester, which is October 14th and 15th. And I believe that's a Saturday and a Sunday. And then on the Saturday, the 14th, I should be at the Arcade Club in Manchester. I think this is going to be a fun trip. So I'm working right now with James Brindle to figure this all out. But it looks like I'm going to the UK, guys. I know I have a lot of UK viewers, and I'm coming. Get ready, mates. We're going to have some chips and some bitters. And then also, I'll be going to London, too. So maybe we could do some meetups. What do you guys think? Does that sound fun? It does to me, because I've never been in the UK. I've always wanted to go, so I'm super excited about this. So I'm working on the details now. I'll let you guys know when it's firm and for sure, but it's looking like it's going to happen here. And I am actually very excited about it. Another thing I want to tell you, I got an email tonight from Teespring that my t-shirt campaign has reopened. It apparently enough people have shown interest to reopen the campaign that Teespring reopened it. It's John's Arcade shirt number 2, the one that says, "Hey guys, we're in the basement," with my thumb on the back with the John's Arcade logo on the front. I'm gonna leave a link below. You guys can go order the shirt. You have only until Thursday though. If you want to get a shirt, I don't really understand how this works. I guess if enough people tell Teespring they want a shirt, they will reopen the campaign, because I didn't do this. So it's reopened. So go get a shirt. Links below if you missed it the first time. All right, let's do some viewer mail. If you guys want to participate in the viewer mail, you need to email them to me at john@johnsarcade.com. That's john@johnsarcade.com. It can be a question, it can be a comment, it can be anything. And by the way, if you got comments about what happened today in this video, send me an email. We'll talk about it. So, first one here is, this is from, Don't. He says, "Do you have any tips for removing cigarette burn damage from plastic control panel parts? I recently picked up a pole position, and the slanted dashboard part of the control panel has lots of cigarette burns on the plastic from people that thought it was a good idea to place their cigarette butts there. Thanks, Don." So, Don, let's take a look at my pole position. Does it have this? It actually might. But, you know, cigarette burns are just kind of reality. Mine has cigarette burns, too. Look at that. See that down there? So, and you want to know something? I never see them because I don't think about them, and I can't see them when I'm playing the game. And by the way, this was a game I traded, a long time ago. I traded a red Donkey Kong cabinet that had Super Mario Brothers in it to Jay for this game, and we did it in the middle of the winter, and we just brought the game right down here. I believe is how, no, actually we didn't. We brought it to the garage, and then in the spring I brought it down, but I didn't do anything to this game at all. And it's worked great. I did do the bulletproof mod. But you can see here, mine has cigarette burns too. And a lot of pole position do. And actually, the thing is though, when you're here, you don't see it. So how do you fix that? I don't know. I suppose if you really wanted to, maybe you could sand it down and progressively get higher with the grit of the sandpaper, but that's a little risky. It's gonna scratch it up. It might make it look worse. I kind of think you should leave it alone, personally. I know it's very easy to just kind of worry about every little detail, especially when you only have like 1 or 2 games. And I don't know if you have a lot of games or don't, but I know that when I only had a couple games, I was really obsessed about every little thing, and I'm just not like that anymore, because I kind of like the patina. I like the original 80s scars now, and I was not like that in the beginning. In the beginning, I obsessed over every little thing, but, you know, you got cigarette burns, they're in a spot you can't see. It's part of the 80s. You know, I've got plenty of control panel overlays down here that have cigarette burns. Not a ton, but some of them. Like, I think 2 Tigers does over there. So, I don't know. Try lightly sanding it. On control panel overlays, sometimes you can use a magic eraser and it'll take a lot of it away. But, I don't know. I would be careful, Don. Don't go too crazy, because you might end up making it worse. Because that plastic, you're going to scratch it up. So, you'd have to really go to a high grit at the end to maybe bring back the original finish. I don't know, it feels a little risky. So, let's see here. This one is from Kevin. And if you guys might remember, Kevin sent us an email and a video about his crystal castles that was acting up. He says, "Hi John, quick update because you asked me to on the viewer mail." So if you guys remember, his crystal castles was beeping, okay? And apparently it was in some kind of watchdog mode. I think was decided after we discussed it. And everyone, including Adam at One Circuit, said it was probably the voltages, which was something I suggested to test right away. And anyway, he rebuilt the AR2 power supply with an Ian Kellogg kit. He still had the same issue. However, he then adjusted the voltage pot, and then the game came up and it was working. Voltages look okay as well. So I'm assuming that you did test 5 volts at the board, okay? And maybe it was too low and that's why the game was not booting. Now, you did the rebuild kit. Did that fix it? Did it not? I don't know. All along, you just needed to test and maybe adjust the voltages. It sounds like it's okay, but definitely take your multimeter and make sure it truly is 5 volts and not 5.5 or 5.7 or 4.5. And then he says that the Electrohome Geo 7 was showing some discolored muted colors on one side of the screen, as seen in this video right here. Okay, so here's the video, and to me, you got some kind of convergence issue, and he goes on and says, "So I got the same GC Weldon degaussing coil that you had from that video. It slightly made it better, but did not solve it completely, so the next step of the project is to rebuild the monitor. Thanks again to the complete kit from Ian Kellogg." Okay, so let's just talk about that really quick, though, because if you've got magnetic interference here, it can be a couple things, right? You could try fixing it with a degaussing coil, which does work, okay? Sometimes just rotating the game will get rid of that, you know, because Earth's magnetic pole can affect the magnetic field of the TV, right, of the monitor. See what happens if you rotate the game. Also, make sure the degaussing coil is plugged in. Because the television, that's like Todd Tucky now. The monitor, it's not a television, it's a monitor. The monitor has a built-in degaussing coil. Remember in the video today, I kept unplugging, replugging in the degaussing coil on the chassis? If that's not plugged in, then it will not degauss the monitor every time you turn it on. So make sure the degaussing coil is actually hooked up, okay, and present on that monitor. And then after that, you might have a purity issue, and sometimes moving the yoke will fix that kind of rainbow effect on the edges. I know that my 720 had that big time when we did a tube swap, and I had to get that yoke in the right spot before the rainbow effect would go away on the edges. So it could be any one of those things with that kind of rainbow convergence thing. Anyway, to completely restore this cocktail to its original form, I'll need to get the artwork as well. I got the CPO overlays from Rich at This Little Game, but he said they don't have the cocktail art because they need the original to get it scanned. Cloth posts also revealed there doesn't seem to be anywhere out there to get this cocktail art for Crystal Castles. So my question now is, what would John do? What would John do in this case? I know you are not one to give up, so how would you deal to solve this? Thanks again. I learned so much since I started watching and following you on YouTube. Kevy Kev. So, I don't know what the condition of your original overlay is now. Are you missing that? It was probably in the video, which I didn't watch right now and will be putting in at post. If the original overlay is okay, can you maybe scan it? I mean, what's bad about your overlay? I'm not clear about that. What I would do is I would start searching the internet trying to find if someone scanned the overlay for that game. If they did, try to clean it up, maybe get it printed by Rich or take it to Staples and get it printed somehow. Or I would probably make a post on Clove or Facebook these days, just asking someone to help. That's what I would do. I would say, hey, I'm looking for Crystal Castles cocktail art. Anyone have it? Can someone scan it? Can someone share it? Etc. So good luck, Kevy Kev. This one's from Wing Wong. Hey John, can you fix burn-in on a monitor? This is from Andrew Wordna. The answer is no, the short answer. You can't. If you've got a monitor that's heavily burned, you cannot remove that. The tube, the phosphorus inside is just burnt. It's killed, it's dead. You cannot fix that. I know there's some like old wives' tales say that you could leave them in the sun. That doesn't work. You cannot fix burn-in. The only way to fix burn-in is to replace the tube. There is a website out there that lists donor television sets that are compatible with like Geo7s and 4900s. So that's usually the best bet, is try to find either another monitor or try to find a TV with a compatible tube and do a tube swap. Again, that's what I did with my 720. So you cannot fix burn-in. Once it's burnt. So all right guys, that's it for this video. Hope you enjoyed it. We'll be back very soon in the garage. I am not stopping. I'm not doing another video until that's fixed. I'm not kidding. I have to take a stand here. We cannot do another video until Journey is fixed. And I don't care if that's 5 more videos or 2 more videos. That's just the reality. That's what's happening here. I want that fixed. So that's what we're doing. I'm sorry if you don't like it, but I have to fix that game. I can't move on to anything else. I need my games fixed in the basement. So, all right, we're done. I'll see you very soon. Thanks for liking, subscribing, commenting. God, it's gotten hot down here. I'll take this coat off. It was cold before. Anyway, I'll see you very soon. Later, and bye.